Ma'am, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
A very good afternoon, everyone. A warm welcome to one and all present here. Eating the right, regular physical activity, having quality sleep, balancing our emotions are the integral part in health promotion, disease prevention, and disease management. I thank Almighty for making today's event a resounding success. With His blessings and grace, we are starting our IAPN event. Every year, the month of September is celebrated as the Rashtriya Poshan Ma, the National Nutrition Month across the country. We all know that the theme for this year is Nutrition Rich India, Educated India, Empowered India. That is Suposhit Bharat, Sakshar Bharat, and Sashakt Bharat. Towards this, IAPN Puducherry chapter organizes an one-day international webinar on precision nutrition and artificial intelligence, upcoming horizons in nutrition. I request the participants to mute yourself and maintain discipline throughout the program. You can post your questions in the chat box and later it will be asked to the resource persons. I now invite Dr. Kayalviri Balamurugan ma'am, the organizing secretary, to deliver the welcome address. Before that, a brief note about her. I welcome you, ma'am. I'm happy to introduce my mentor, Dr. Kayalviri Balamurugan. She is an educator who believes that each student has the potential to change the world, and she always ensures to provide the best quality foundation for that. Ma'am did her BSc at Sitalakshmi Ramaswamy College at Bharadasan University, Trichy, MSc, MPhil, and PhD from Avinashi Lingam Institute of Higher Education for Women, Coimbatore. She did her faculty of PG and Research Department of Home Science at Bharadasan Government College, Puducherry University. She is the coordinator, Entrepreneurship Development Cell since 2018. Ma'am has initiated Health and Nutrition Club in the campus. Her research topic was stress management. Ma'am has 2 decades of teaching experience. Prior to this, 10 years of experience as lecturer in nutrition, Sri Balaji College of Nursing, MGR Medical University, Chennai. She is a home science teacher in Selvan Public School, Gurgaon, certified infant and young child feeding counseling specialist and national trainer and landmark graduate. She is a subject expert for the certificate course in counseling skills, Center for Social Change, Delhi. Ma'am is a member in various professional bodies. She compiled a book on nutrition for optimal health. Ma'am has organized, participated, presented, and published papers, and also has a resource person in various international, national, and regional level conferences, training programs. Ma'am has received an Outstanding Educationist Award from JCI Royal, Puducherry in 2015, Excellency in Social Service Award from SOMI in 2016, Excellency in Public Health Service Award from Satya Special School, Puducherry in 2019. Over to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Yamini, for this introduction. Respected dignitaries, resource person, faculties, and my dear participants to the one-day international webinar on precision nutrition and artificial intelligence, upcoming horizons in nutrition, organized by Iapen Puducherry chapter. It gives me immense pleasure as our organizing secretary to deliver the welcome address on this August occasion. I heartily welcome our chief patron in the very dynamic renowned physician, Dr. V. Potakat, Vice President, Iapen India, Professor, Department of Surgical Gastroenterology, JIPMA, Puducherry. I also thank you, sir, for your unwavering support. I'm truly delighted to welcome our lead speaker, the very eminent Dr. Kalpana Bhaskaran, Deputy Director, Industry Partnerships, Head, Glycemic Index Research Unit, School of Applied Science, Temasek Polytechnic, Singapore, President, Singapore Nutrition and Dietetic Association. Hearty welcome, dear Dr. Kalpana Bhaskaran. In spite of her busy schedule, she has accepted our invitation. I also extend a warm welcome to Dr. Anto, Assistant Professor, University Tunku, Abdul Rahman, Malaysia. Dr. Anto has accepted an invitation within a short notice. Thank you. I also welcome my dear friend, Dr. Meenakshi Bajaj, registered dietitian, Tamil Nadu Government and Multi and Super Speciality Hospital, Chennai. Madam is an author, reviewer, and columnist. I invite you, Madam, for this international webinar. I am happy to welcome Dr. Srijit Krishnan, Head, Learning and Development, Sony India Software Center, Bangalore. Hope many of you are familiar of his voice. Hey, everyone, you are watching Wisdom Shots. Stay healthy, stay happy. I am Srijit Krishnan. So stay tuned till the end of the session. I wholeheartedly welcome you, sir. I also welcome the HODs, faculties, nurses, dietitians, scholars, students, and other participants from various colleges and hospitals to this international webinar on precision nutrition and artificial intelligence, upcoming horizons in nutrition. I extend my welcome to the organizing team members, Mrs. Uma Shankari, Ms. Kanchana, Mrs. Ankita, and Yamini. A warm welcome once again to all gathered here on this wonderful occasion. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your welcome note. We are saddened to know that on 28 September 2023, India has lost one of its most renowned agricultural scientists, Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, sir, the father of Green Revolution. Dr. Soumya Swaminathan is not in a position to join us to deliver her keynotes of gratitude towards ma'am, who has accepted our invitation in spite of her busy schedule. It is our duty to pay homage to Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, the great agricultural scientist. Once again, I call Dr. Kayalvili Balamurugan ma'am to say a few words about Dr. M.S. Swaminathan.
Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, a distinguished scientist and visionary in the field of agriculture, has made immense contributions to food security and sustainable farming practices. His unwavering dedication in improving the lives of farmers and addressing global food challenges has left an indelible mark on agriculture and human welfare. Dr. Swaminathan's pioneering work in crop genetics and agricultural research, often referred to as the father of the Green Revolution in India, revolutionized food production in the country and beyond. His efforts to develop high-yielding crop varieties have helped millions of people access better nutrition and livelihood. Beyond his scientific achievements, Dr. Swaminathan has championed the cause of sustainable agriculture, biodiversity conservation, empowerment of small farmers, etc. His advocacy for the Green Revolution emphasized the importance of environment-friendly and socially inclusive agricultural practices. His legacy continues to inspire scientists, policymakers, and others worldwide to work towards a future where no one goes to bed hungry, where agriculture coexists harmoniously with nature. On this occasion, we, the nutrition family members and health team members, work towards his lifelong commitment in ending hunger, promoting rural development, and fostering a more sustainable and equitable world. So now I request all the participants, dignitaries, everyone to maintain 1 minute silence just to pay homage to Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. Thank you.
I now invite Ms. Kanchana, dietitian, treasurer, Iapen India Puducherry chapter, to introduce Dr. Biju Pottakat sir, Vice President of Iapen India, to deliver the inaugural address.
Thank you, Yamini. Good afternoon, everyone. Dr. Biju Pottakat sir is here, Iapen India Vice President. Currently, sir working as a professor in Department of Surgical Gastroenterology, JIPMA. Sir did his MBBS in University of Calicut, MS in Mahatma Gandhi University, Kerala, MCH in Surgical Gastroenterology, Sanjay Gandhi Postgraduate Institute of Medical Science, Lucknow. Postdoctoral fellowship in hepatopancreatic and biliary surgery. Fellow of American College of Surgeons and Fellow of International College of Surgeons. Sir worked as a lecturer in liver surgery at Kurum University School of Medicine at Fukuoka, Japan under Dr. K. Okuda. Worked as a visiting fellow in the Department of Hepatopancreatic Biliary Surgery at Washington University in St. Louis under Dr. Stephen M. Strasberg. Completed his fellowship in liver transplant surgery at Asian Center for Liver Disease and Transplantation at Singapore under Dr. K.C. Tan. Worked as a faculty in liver transplant unit at Department of Surgical Gastroenterology and SGPJMS, Lucknow. Dr. Biju Pottakat is a member of several professional bodies like International Hepatopancreatic Biliary Association, Association of Surgeons of India, Indian Association of Surgical Gastroenterology, Association of Colon and Rectal Surgeons of India, Indian Society of Gastroenterology, and National Academy of Medical Sciences. He has published more than 106 papers in indexed journal and authored 5 chapters in books. Welcome, sir. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon to all. I bring greetings from the Central Committee of IAP in India. On behalf of the National Association, I express my sincere gratitude for inviting me as well as organizing this program. And as always, Puducherry chapter is very active. And I sincerely thank Dr. Kyle for organizing such a wonderful program, the highly eminent international faculty. On behalf of the National Association, I invite all speakers. Dr. Kalpana from Singapore, I think we met just 10 days back at China in Asian Nutrition Congress. I also invited Dr. Anto, Dr. Meenakshi Bajaj and Srijit. So I think after seeing the credentials of the speakers, I know that this program will be one of the landmark program in the history of the Puducherry chapter. This month, under the leadership of the National Committee, we are organizing almost 50 plus programs across the country because this month is very important to us. We put a lot of effort in the promotion and practice of clinical as well as community nutrition. With this, I inaugurate this program and I wish all the success, and I request all the delegates to keenly attend the program, because this is one of the rare opportunity where you get the best experts speak on that particular subject of artificial intelligence and precision nutrition. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inaugural address. You are always a source of inspiration for all of us, sir. Now, the rationale of the webinar will be given by the organizing secretary.
I'm very happy to present the rationale of the webinar. Precision nutrition is founded on the premise that one size does not fit all in the diet-disease relationship. Precision nutrition is often known as personalized nutrition. Its ultimate purpose is to maintain or improve health by using genetic, phenotypic, medical, nutritional, and other relevant information about individuals to provide more precise, healthy eating guidelines. Genetically guided precision nutrition is opening the way to a new era of more effective healthcare services for increased well-being across all ages. The integration of artificial intelligence technologies in precision nutrition has revolutionized in the field, allowing the analysis of complex data sets, prediction of disease risk, and the development of personalized dietary plans. This webinar aims to bring together experts in nutrition, nutrigenetics, artificial intelligence, and psychology to advance our understanding of biological systems, their dynamics, and interaction with nutrients. I'm sure that this webinar will foster high levels of scientific dialogues and also encourage future research to identify next generation biomarkers for assessment of nutritional needs in health and disease. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving into our technical session 1, I invite Mrs. Ankita, Assistant Dietitian, Department of Dietetics, JIPMER, Puducherry, to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Kalpana Bhaskaran, to share her thoughts and experiences about precision nutrition.
Thank you. Thank you, Yamini. So I am grateful for the opportunity to talk about the short biography of our delegate today, Dr. Kalpana Bhaskaran. So, Kanchana, if you can please share the slides. It's not been shown.
It's sharing, ma'am. Already shared.
Okay, I could not see actually. Sorry. Sorry for the delay. So hello?
Ma'am, it seems the Kalpana ma'am have not joined yet.
Okay, so shall we, what should we do now?
Actually, I have joined. I'm already in the.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice to hear, ma'am.
You can see me, right? I'm already joined.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. Okay, so as we have the eminent speaker with us, with joyful way, I want to introduce Ms. Dr. Kalpana Bhaskaran, ma'am, MSc MPhil PhD. Madam is currently working as the Deputy Director, Industry Partnerships and Head of the Glycemic Index Research Unit at Temasek Polytechnic, Singapore. She is the President of Singapore Nutrition and Dietetics Association and the President of Diabetes Singapore. She is also the Executive Committee member of the Asian Nutrition Society for Sports and Health and will be co-charging the Iapen 2023 conference. Madam has been appointed as an expert advisor to Ministry of Health in relation to sugar reduction from the sugar-sweetened beverages and the launch of the NutriGrade level. She was also invited to be a part of the Ministry of Health's Citizen Jury and Working Group on Patient Empowerment, which is one of the initiatives by MOH to beat diabetes. Our madam has been also conferred as the National Day Commendation Award for recognition of her work and its impact to diabetes management and education in 2014. In September 2017, her team was awarded the Energy Award by the Ministry of Education for their innovation efforts in area of glycemic index. Recently, project led by her, Diabetes and Flu Campaign, an initiative done in collaboration with Diabetes Singapore and Sanofi, won 2 silver awards in 2 categories under PR Awards Asia 2020. In 2022, she was conferred the Exemplary Overcomer Award, which recognizes the spirit of risk-taking and perseverance in the pursuit of innovation and new opportunities for growth. She was also awarded the Exemplary Award for her outstanding leadership style to lead multiple teams with diverse portfolios: food technology, applied nutrition, culinary applications, bistro lab team, and the glycemic index research team. So it was the short biography of our eminent speaker. More than that, she beholds accountable degrees and qualifications on her name, which we can't enlist today, but this is the minimal we can do to introduce ma'am. So here with the warm heart, I want to welcome Dr. Kalpana Bhaskaran ma'am to take the dais and to go ahead with her topic.
Thank you so much for the kind words of introduction. And allow me to share my slides. Are you able to see my slides?
Yeah, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay. And I will also switch on my video. Wait 1 second. Okay. So good evening, everyone. Hope I'm also audible as well as visible, because otherwise it is very rude when I just talk without switching on my video. My sincere thanks to Dr. Biju. I met him in China recently in Chengdu, and I have no idea that this particular conference was organized by him under his leadership. Only recently I knew through Dr. Kyle. She's also one of my batchmates in Avnashlingam, and she said, okay, he heads the Iapen India. Again, this topic, when they asked me to talk on this topic, actually I was a little bit reluctant for various reasons, because I still feel maybe India is not ready for this. That's one reason. Other reason is it practical, especially when I'm speaking to a diverse group of audience, and I know there are students from Puducherry, maybe in fact from all over India as well. That's what I was told by the organizers. So I was wondering, is this a topic which you will be able to take home? Because I always believe this, anytime I talk, even it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever I speak should be useful for at least a couple of people. But will it be useful? These are the thoughts which came to my mind. But since the organizers persistently insisted that I should talk something on artificial intelligence and nutrition, then I have put together a set of slides, which I hope you will all be able to take home some message out of it. Thank you for the next maybe 10 to 15 minutes of my sharing. Okay, the first one, when you talk about hype or hope, this was my topic: precision nutrition, hype or hope. So first thing, I would like to maybe explain when I put this hype or hope, what actually I meant by it. See, because hype can be positive, it can have two connotations. It can be positive or it can be negative. So when you look at positive, maybe something very good, I'm going to really promote it. It can be done then. But if it's really not scientifically proven, but what we do is you try to excessively publicize it, promote it without any scientific backing, it can be also a problem. Or you also can create an artificial demand to something which is really not good, can be done. Well, I think you all know about the hype which was created when this Bitcoins and all those came, even without knowing, people started buying it, right? So in the field of nutrition, the hype which is always created is, okay, supplements are a cure for everything, which I don't believe it, but there's always a hype around supplements, right? And then proven to be scientific, then marketed. You can also create a hype to something which is very scientific and then you market it. This is what is balanced diet. You all know balanced diet works. Why don't we create a hype around it? Eating vegetables helps. Why don't you create an Instagram or a TikTok video about it? You can hype about it. Okay, that is something good. So also sometimes it may be a false perception. You're giving a false hope to your person. That is when the hope comes in. So hope always is evidence-based, will be used at the community level, and the hope should be therapeutic. Okay, if I tell precision nutrition is going to help you, I need to prove that, yes, it is not just a false hope, but it's a hope which you can all hold on to it. We always live by hope, right? So hope is always positive. So now what is precision nutrition? Here again, I know there are so many definitions of it. And also people use it alternatively. They think precision nutrition and personalized nutrition can be used alternatively. To me, definitions are just created. Whatever makes sense to you. I think even just yesterday, I spoke at Growth Asia Summit conference in Singapore. And in fact, the last segment of the entire topic was on precision and personalized nutrition. These two terms were used interchangeably. Let's forget about it, but let me give the definition, which is pretty recent from Frontiers, which is what is precision nutrition is. It's an approach to developing comprehensive and dynamic nutrition recommendations. So it is first thing, it should be comprehensive. When I use the word dynamic, you also should take it with a pinch of salt. It is ever changing. Okay, it is very evolving. Nutritional recommendations. Maybe today I may say 3 cups of coffee are good. Tomorrow I might change to 2 cups are good. Okay, so that's how dynamic it is. And it's based on individual variables. Okay, so very, very individualized. I will show you in my next slide a very pictorial way how individualized it is. And it includes genetics. So your DNA blueprint is included. Includes your microbiome, which is also your blueprint, which is different from even your twin. Metabolic profile. Okay, so your entire metabolic profile will be included from head to toe metabolic profiling, your health status, physical activity, dietary pattern, food environment. This is again very, very important. Let's say you are in Puducherry, you are staying at Street 21. Around you, what are the food shops you frequent? What are the supermarket you frequent? Do you have some street foods? All this should be mapped out, as well as socioeconomic and psychosocial characteristics. Socioeconomic and psychosocial characteristics are very intertwined with your food environment.
Hi,
and
ma'am.
this is yes.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Sorry to interrupt you. The slides are not moving, ma'am.
Wait, I have no idea. You see, is it moving now?
No, ma'am.
I really don't know.
The slideshow mode.
Yeah, it's in the slideshow mode.
You can
Wait, I'll do
switch
one
off
thing.
and switch on again.
I'll stop sharing and I share back again. Now, is it okay? Can you see my slide?
Yes, ma'am.
But wait, let me go on to the next slide. You see whether you're able to see my. Are you able to see?
Yes, ma'am. It's not now moving.
Okay, good. Okay,
Thank
so
you,
I
ma'am.
was on this slide explaining to you about precision nutrition. So I was talking about psychoeconomic and psychosocial. So socioeconomic status. Okay, we all buy. Our buying strategies, the food we choose is definitely dependent upon your socioeconomic status. And I strongly believe that whatever food we eat as nutritionists or dietitians, when we plan a diet, it should be eaten by the common man. Otherwise, your diet is not going to work. And psychosocial refers to your mental health, as well as how do you have your peers help to influence this as well. So when you talk about precision nutrition, okay, this particular slide, I hope I have moved on to the next slide. You can see that, right? So this shows that, of course, a red apple among the green ones. So you're very unique. So precision nutrition is very precise. So the name comes from precise. So precise measurements so that it is tailor-made exactly for one individual, and it is not based on one size fits all approach. But it is slightly different from a personalized nutrition approach. I'll give an example of a personalized nutrition. Let's say it's like a storytelling. Let's say you walk into a ice cream shop. Okay, you want to order an ice cream. So you look at the various, there are almost 20 flavors. You look at the entire menu of flavors and you choose, maybe you want to choose a tropical mango as a flavor. So that is, you ask the person, I would like to have a tropical mango. So this person gives that ice cream. That is just personal. It's not personalized for you. It is your personal preference. So it is different. I hope you all get it. Just your personal preference. Then you go on to the next level. You say, okay, I would like to have a tropical mango, but can I have 0 sugar? Okay. Then this person goes on and gives you a 0 sugar ice cream, which again is not a personalized one. It is again, maybe 20 people will be having the same 0 sugar ice cream. Then you go on to the next one. Can I have a vegan-based tropical mango? So which is maybe you're lactose intolerant, you don't want milk. You want an almond-based ice cream, okay, which is a little bit personalized because you are suffering from lactose intolerance. You lack the lactase enzyme, but still there'll be 10 people around it. Then you go on to the next level. You ask the person, can you make this ice cream with probiotics? And these probiotics should suit my gut. And that is where, again, you go to the next level of it. So it's multiple levels come in. Okay, so then you may also have to put a tick. Okay, if you are diabetic, whatever, what you don't, you have to avoid. So many things come in. So that shows you the complexity of precision nutrition from a layman's point of view. Okay, so the next one, what are the components of precision nutrition? So from the word precise, P for personalized, okay? So precise or precision, so P is for personalized, individual data is collected, okay? You need to give your data. Let's say your data, you hide things, okay? That's what we all do. When a person does a 24-hour recall, you don't give your true data, then your precision nutrition becomes a 0, it doesn't work. It should be, first thing, reliable, okay? For it to be reliable, you need to give the right data, right? So derived recommendations are linked to improved outcomes. Whatever you data input, data output. So if you put the wrong data, you will get rubbish out of it. Next is evidence-based. It is supported by scientific evidence and the methodology is robust. Complex, very complex, specialized knowledge and tools. To me, to date, I don't think nutrition and dietitians are ready for precision nutrition unless you have very good physiology, very good biochemical knowledge. Okay, so you need to link all this in order to be, and genetics, in order to advise or provide precision nutrition advice. Complex, that's why it is integrative. You need to integrate intra and inter-individual variability. So intra and inter-individual is where multiple predictors come in. See, for me, my research is based on inter-individual variability in glycemic response. We test every day. I do human studies and we look at so much of intra and inter-individual variability with blood markers, but I don't look at microbiome markers. So if you ask me to plan a diet based on microbiome, I can plan a diet, but still my major strength will be on my glycemic response, not on gut-induced response. So that is where comes the complexity of it. Next is systemic. So it's a very systemic approach. So data should be collected, analyzed, and presented as a system approach, not on individual, not on each and every component. You need to be looking at it a bigger picture. Then it should be evolving, dynamic. I told you, I think I will give an example of dynamic, how these individual changes change every second, every minute. When I take your blood glucose at 6 o'clock in the morning, 7:30, 9:30, 10:30, it varies. Okay, diurnal variation. So you can see the individual variations of, and when you're stressed, your levels are different. So many factors come into play. So this evolving things should be taken care of. That's where it's precise. So all these components should be taken care of, right? So next one. So again, I told the inputs. Look at all these inputs. Do we have such inputs? Your genome, epigenome, transcriptome, proteome, metabolome, exosome, and foodome and dietome. That is where all your dietary things go in. Even that, we don't have robust data. Our food frequency questionnaires, the way you fill up, some things can go wrong. Your microbiome, interactome, which no one has it, anatome, behaviorome, and cognition, state of mind, medical and family history, bibliome. So look at so many things. That's your inputs. Then you use advanced analytics. That's where your data analytics, data engineers came into play. Then you integrate all this. After that, you make so much of permutations and combination. Then you go and make your precise recommendations. After you do recommendations, actually stop here. Doesn't work. Then what you do, you need to follow up. Make sure the patient changes his behavior. Is health optimized? So check on that, right? So that is where your outcomes come into picture. So that is why, as a dietitian, out of this whole thing, what input a dietitian can provide is only one of it, which is foodome and dietome. You should be willing to agree, okay, yes, this is my level, but I need to integrate my knowledge with the rest of the team. How many of them do that? They don't, right? Including me, I'm asking, how many of you are open to collaboration? You need to collaborate. Otherwise, we are stuck there. We are not able to provide the advice which our consumers need. So deep phenotyping, this is what I meant. Whatever you're doing here is deep phenotyping. So when you do deep phenotyping, then you do all this. And again, where dietitians come in will be, I do psychological, you cannot do, even though you may claim I can do it, but it's not right to go on to another person's shoes, right? You can do anthropometry. We have high-end anthropometry assessment. So you should be very thorough to read a DEXA scan, right? Social demographic things. This one, you need medical social workers to come in. Environmental factors. Okay, you need behavioral psychologists to come in. So here again, you see the different levels of people who have to come in. So that's why I feel precision nutrition, are we ready for it? So genotype, single locus, right? Whereas when you look at your phenotypes, refer to composite measurements that combine a large number of variables related to your metabolism, your diet, whether the person, what is the metabolic aging profiles, and so on. So this is something which this is also from a latest published article from Frontiers, very beautifully shown. This is where an individual stands, okay? So let's say what we can find out is the person's lifestyle, goes in a fancy car, the way he lives, you can predict the person's lifestyle, right? Then the social environment the person lives in. What is the social support he has? Is the person married? Does he have a spouse to support him, right? And does he have some mentors? So what are the social norms? Then the physical environment comes in, the next level. Okay, where is his home? Where is the neighborhood? The school and work sites, restaurants where he eats. Actually, we do that. Okay, so we have apps wherein when I want to go and eat, we have divided. Singapore is a very small place. So north, northeast, wherever I want to know, whichever food I want to eat, I can track, I can find out. So that is the level I'm mentioning. Then the macro level environment. Okay, the macro is even bigger. What are the food systems, healthcare systems available? So this is where everything comes in for the individualistic level in the case of precision nutrition. Now, the next interesting thing in precision nutrition is creating your virtual digital twin. Okay, this is something interesting. You may think it's not possible, but it is possible. It is being done currently. In my experience, how we do digital twin, not under precision nutrition, but for our laboratory. So we are doing a digital twin laboratory. So because during COVID, we tried to create that. So we have a virtual laboratory, which is exactly like my physical laboratory. So I'm able to teach my students. The students can walk in, they can go through this all virtual. So they can handle equipment, everything. Okay, so that is to that level we are doing it. So why not we do precision nutrition? It is possible. So this is what will happen is, so this person is, when you create your digital twin, all your inputs, your genetics, your immune, all your immune markers, your behavioral traits, deep phenotyping, your metabolomics, microbiome, everything is input. Then you try to merge that with the Internet of Things. The machine will learn. The more the data you provide, you're training the machine. So the machine you learn, it creates exactly a digital model of yourself. Okay, exactly a replica of yourself. Then what you do, use this replica and you try to do nutrition intervention on that replica to see whether it works. If it works, then you take it. Okay, so you have a twin of yourself to do modeling. Okay, so that is what is being currently done. So the virtual digital twins concept is, initially such twins were just 3D computer models. But now with artificial intelligence, you are able to create a digital, a real counterpart. I'm not telling a real person walking, it's a digital twin. So that is why when you look at the analyst, Rob, what he explains his beliefs is the human version digital twins before the end of the decade, which is before 2030. So it is just another 5 to 6 years, you will be able to create a digital twin. So this is something very recent in September 2023, September 11th, TCS, which is Indian conglomerate, Tata Consultancy Services, joins the Living Heart project to create accurate digital human heart models. Amazing. Okay. So this is nothing but it is happening. So let me play this video. I don't know whether I'll be able to share. Are you able to see my screen? When I did this sharing?
Yes, ma'am, we are able to see your
Are you seeing the video?
Yet to, ma'am. Yet to, not yet now.
Are you able to see now? No, no. Give me a minute. Okay, because it's, let me share again. Let me see, I'm able to share the video again. If not, I think then I would suggest that maybe you can watch it. Now?
Yes, ma'am, we are able to.
Okay, so this one is a very big video, but maybe just a little bit
Ma'am, unable to hear the audio, ma'am.
Okay, at least you have told earlier why you waited so long. Then we need not have wasted the time. So what I'll
Sorry,
do,
ma'am. I thought there is a problem with my internet only.
oh, okay. So maybe then I go back to my slides. We continue with the slides then. Are you able to see the slides?
Yes, ma'am. A single slide. Yeah, the video screen is open.
Wait, let me. It's stuck. I think it's. Now,
Yes, ma'am. It's visible.
but I'm not able to go to the slideshow mode. It's not moving. See? Let me see. Are you able to see my slideshow mode? Maybe wait, let me.
Ma'am, actually, we are running out of time. Could you please make it faster?
Maybe let me go to my last slide then. Sorry,
Yes,
because
slides are visible now, ma'am.
how much time do I have?
Your time is actually between till only 3:35, ma'am.
So maybe then I'll stop, you can go on to the next speaker. It's okay. I'll stop my presentation and thanks
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Kalpana, ma'am, please.
Thanks. This is my last slide. Yeah.
No, ma'am.
I'll stop here. Yeah.
No, ma'am. We would be happy if you tell your views actually in a consolidated way, though if not the slides, because it was quite interesting.
Ma'am, you can proceed with your slides, ma'am.
No, really, no. I'll stop. It's okay. You continue with the next speaker.
Kalpana and Kyle speaking. Video is not a problem. But
I think there is some technical issue.
But you can conclude with your ideas and views. With your remaining slides, you can explain.
No, I think I'll stop here.
Video we said, okay?
No, I'll stop here because.
No. Actually, we were telling about the video, not your slides. Leaving the video part, you can continue because quite interesting. And you can share with the rest of the slides and finish. Thank you.
No, this is my last slide. Okay, so maybe I think you can decide whether, are you able to see my slide?
No, ma'am.
No?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
It's visible now.
I can see the slide, but not in slide sharing mode.
That's okay, ma'am. That's okay. Not an issue,
Now
ma'am. You can
this is
take.
fine, ma'am. This
Yeah,
is fine.
Okay, so this is my last slide. So in the case of precision nutrition, now you should be able to decide whether it's a hype or hope, whether it's backed by science. I think you all understand that when something is data driven, it is backed by science. And it also holds promise. Because when you see the one example I showed you, because I have multiple examples in diabetes and the area of my work, because of lack of time, it's okay. So it also holds promise. And there are a lot of challenges to be addressed. And one of the major challenges is it's also about data privacy. How do people really, especially when you collect data, is it ethical to collect data? But that's the future of nutrition, definitely. And today you may think precision nutrition is something special, but it's going to become tomorrow's usual. Thank you so much. And thanks for giving this wonderful opportunity. And I'll stop sharing my slides now.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was such an enlightening and illuminating session.
I'll also take leave because I have other engagements. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay,
Yeah.
Ma'am has highlighted clearly what is precision nutrition, which is also referred to as personalized nutrition, and focuses on the individual rather than groups of people, and has elaborated that it is an innovative approach that takes into account individual differences in genes, environment, and lifestyles. Just give me a second. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Anto Cordelia. Ma'am did her bachelor's, master, and PhD in food science and nutrition at Avinashi Lingam Institute for Home Science and Higher Education for Women, Coimbatore. She is an assistant professor, Department of Chemical Science, Center for Biomedical and Nutrition Research, Faculty of Science, and head of Nutrigenetics and Nutrigenomics Research and Training Unit, University Tunku Abdul Rahman, Malaysia. Her research interests are nutrigenetic studies, community nutrition, and also in precision nutrition, green synthesis of metallic nanoparticles, their biological activities, and application in food packaging. She has received international and national funds worth more than 80 lakhs. She has published over 40 articles in reputed high impact factor journals. She has delivered more than 50 talks at national and international levels. She is a life member of Nutrition Society of Malaysia, Nutrition Society of India, associated member of Malaysian Association for the Study of Obesity, professional member of Malaysian Society for Body Composition and the Nutrition Society UK, and yearly career member of European Association for Obesity. Ma'am has received UK Malaysia Institutional Partnership Awards 2023 and the bronze medal at the National Biotechnology Innovation Competition. I invite you, ma'am, to deliver the lecture on artificial intelligence-based digital data collection for precision nutrition. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you for the very good introduction, and a very pleasant evening to the organizers, the participants, and everyone present here. And thanks for giving me this wonderful opportunity to be a part of this webinar. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, sure.
I think you have to make me the host. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I am Anto Cordelia from the Department of Chemical Science in University Tunku Abdul Rahman, and this is our beautiful Lakeside campus, and we invite you all to our campus once. Okay, so today my topic is on AI-based digital technology or tools that we use for precision nutrition approaches in research purposes. So before I move on, I know Dr. Kalpana explained to you what is the definition for personalized and precision nutrition. So as she said, there are numerous ways of explaining what it is all about. So here I would give you a different perspective of what personalized nutrition is. So here it uses an information on individuals' characteristics, and that is used to develop a targeted nutritional guidance to the individuals. So that is what we classify as personalized nutrition. And for precision nutrition, we use more quantitative data to understand and explain about the various complex relationships that exist in an individual based on their phenotype. And based on that, we give nutritional intervention, and that is individually beneficial. And it is not necessary it has to be for the individuals. It could also be for a subpopulation groups, because we have different ethnicities, we have different groups amongst us. Like we have the indigenous population, we have, if you take India, you have a different pattern in south and in the north. So for any population subgroup also, this precision nutrition will hold good based on the data that we collect or the scientific backup that we have. So when we move on to what are the tools that we use in precision nutrition, before that we have to know why we wanted to go for precision nutrition. So this is a kind of a data-driven GPS for our health, just to keep a track on the background and alert us when we are at any disease risk, and sometimes provide us with advices or suggestions on what we have to do. So this is more like a GPS for health. And again, as Dr. Kalpana already mentioned, one size does not fit all, and each of us are unique in our own ways. So we have to go in for a more personalized approach. And there's another thing. Everyone responds to diet and nutrition differently based on the different factors, which includes your genetics, your socio-economic background, the environment we live, our physical activity levels, the gut microbiome that we have, as well as your current state of health. So we need to go in for precision nutrition. So right now, we are in a transition stage. There is a paradigm shift. We are moving from a more generic or more traditional way to the precision nutrition approach. So how do we do that? So long we have been using this food guide pyramid. I think everyone will know about this food guide pyramid, and every nation has its own food guide pyramid. So this has been introduced in all the school curriculum or in the universities. So basically everyone is more aware of this food guide pyramid, which is the more traditional way, and it is for the general population. So from that, we slowly move on to a targeted population, which means we have specific requirements and recommendations for the targeted population, like infants or pregnancy or for lactating mothers. So that is for a targeted population. And from there, we move on to the personalized nutrition based on an individual's genetic makeup. And from personalized nutrition, we are now moving towards a more precise nutrition, where we have a lot of information, combining or integrating all this information to give a precision nutrition recommendation. And there is a difference between personalized and precision nutrition, whereby personalized nutrition concentrates on a recommendation for an individual based on their normal food or dietary intake. Whereas precision nutrition is again an individual or for a subgroup of population, but it is for the prevention of any disorder. So that is the difference between the personalized and precision nutrition. And how does this transformation from generic to precision nutrition matters? So normally when we have a one size fits all approach, it is a standard framework for all the population, but we do not know how everyone responds to that approach. So we have standard responders, we'll have non-standard responders, as well as we have adverse responders. But the solution is the same for all the population group. So when we go in for a precision nutrition approach, we collect data from genetics, from their clinical history, from their personal history, from their diet history, their physical activity levels, their psychological levels, and everything. We recommend dietary recommendations, which could be this. It is not the same, but it could provide the same benefits. So it can be classified as recommended intake for the standard, and greater than recommendation for those who are non-responders, and totally a different one, an alternative diet for adverse responders. So that is the difference between a generic and a precision nutrition approach. And we know everything is now based on AI techniques, and we cannot live or exist without the gadgets. And I think a handphone can tell you everything, and every details or every data that you need is in your hands. And artificial intelligence and machine learning approaches have now been introduced in all the data collection approaches. So what is artificial intelligence all about? So it is basically a science that is devoted for the machines to think and act like humans. It is basically a replica of human brain. And this is a data-driven approach. And machine learning is a subset of this AI technique. It basically does not use any programming, but only uses statistical methods or mathematical computation. And that will tell you how to predict and prescribe nutrient content based on the available data. We also have deep learning, which is again a subset of this machine learning, whereby it is all based on the data that is generated through pictures or through audio. So these are the latest techniques that we involve for more precise data collection. So artificial intelligence normally will create algorithms, which is a series of questions that we ask to come to a problem-solving answer, or which can be a solution to a problem. So that can help to predict how an individual respond to different diets. And this algorithm will become a part of the healthcare development. So this is the AI-driven precision nutrition, which means we have more data, integrating all those data through images or through audios or visuals. And that information is processed like how your neurons work. We have an output layer, we have an input layer, and we have something processing, and that gives you the final output. So these are the different knowledge network that we have. And then we come out with a knowledge-enabled discovery, which can be either for population, which can be for any medicinal purposes or the basic molecular results. And that is embedded in digital health, for which we have different ethics and engagement. And that could be how it will help with giving a precise recommendation. So we are in a digital era, and we have various gadgets that has come out with sensors and signals that users can use. And based on the situation, resources, or location, it will help to process the data, which is the real-time data. And these experts will analyze using various search engines and then come out with a precise recommendation for the individuals. So basically, when we use, I'll give you a simple example. Normally, when we take a blood pressure measurement, it is just one-time measurement, or we measure at 3 different intervals or 3 different days, and then we record the measurements. But we have wearable gadgets which will record your blood pressure measurements 24 hours a day, and that will give you the exact blood pressure. So it will tell you when you have a high pressure, when you have a low pressure, and that gives you a real-time data. So these are the different techniques that we use based on AI. So this is the process flow of how we integrate AI in precision nutrition approach. So we take the individuals, we collect all the information pertaining to their dietary intakes, we take all the multi-omics data, their biochemical or nutritional biomarkers, their physical activity levels, even their sleep tracking and their gut microbiota. So all these multi-omics and different data, they will be structured and unstructured data based on what we collect. It can be videos, it can be survey results, or it can be even pictures or photographs. And they are stored in databases and servers. And then we use AI algorithms to detect the patterns in the individuals and then come out with an intervention design based on whatever the predictive models that we receive, and then go in for a personalized nutrition recommendation. So this is how the process flow when we are moving towards a precision nutrition approach. So we have various tools. We are moving, as I said, from the generic to the more digitalized data collection tools. So normally we use the surveys, we take nutritional anthropometry, we have various genetic data, we come out with nutritional biomarkers, we have different dietary intake measurements and other tools. So these are the common tools that we use in any nutrition research. And how are we going to integrate this with AI? So first is the AI-assisted anthropometry. So our normal anthropometric or traditional methods will use a measuring tape or a normal weighing scale or a stadiometer, a skin fold calipers. So all these are used to measure your height, weight, hip circumference, waist circumference, skin fold thickness, and other things. And that is time consuming. You have to take individual data for every person and you have to triplicate the results, and you have to record all those details manually. So now we have a body composition analyzer, and that is the 3D body composition analysis, which uses AI visual and optical 3D modeling. So this would give you 15 core body measurements and provide 6 control and analytical suggestions. And this is being already tested and validated with the WHO recommended standards. And we call it as a 3D body avatar and accurate posture analysis. So this will give you a 360-degree real body 3D model within 10 seconds. And you get all those measurements at one go. And that is more precise. It can also help you to predict how your body structure will look like when you lose weight or when you gain weight. So this is the latest technology that we have for body composition analysis. And then we have other gadgets or other methods of data collection, like we have the bioelectrical impedance, we have air displacement plethysmography, we have dual X-ray, absorptiometry, MRI, hydrostatic weighing. The only thing is we have to choose based on our goal, which will be the most appropriate tools that we can use for our research. And we have surveys. So normally we print out the hard copy of the survey questionnaires, give it to the participants, and then ask them to fill in the surveys. And then we manually record all those in an Excel file, and then we send it for the data analysis. But now we have the smart system, which is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and it is time bound. So these type of surveys can be downloaded through the mobile app, and they can analyze all the quality assessment. They can change all the or collect all the raw data and then give you the results in virtual mode or in visualization mode. So it helps to automatically sync all data, and using the AI tools, it will help you to give you an accurate measurements or accurate results of whatever that we get. So this is now being used worldwide for the researchers using the smart technique in surveys. And we have the big data analysis. We have various softwares that can help you to compute large amount of data and give you a precise model of what we wanted to get. So this is again another way by which we include AI in analyzing the data. And the next one is about how we end up generating omics data, because when we go for precision nutrition, we need to develop data regarding the gene pattern or the genetic makeup of the individuals. So we have different types of omics, and we have different techniques, and we have different technology that has been used in generating the data. So when you look into the genomes, we have the measurements like NGS, the next generation sequencing, we have RNA sequencing, we have microarray techniques, we use mass spectrometry and NMR. So all these are the latest high throughput technology that we use for collecting various omics data. And once we collect all these omics data, then we go in for the sequencing and we get the individual genetic makeup. And as we know, it is not like a very, very little amount of data that we collect. Whatever we collect is voluminous amount of data for each individuals. And based on those data, we go in for a precision nutrition approach. So we have another type, how we classify the group as. So one is metabolic phenotype. This is classifying the individuals based on their similarities in their metabolic profile. So that metabolic phenotyping is done based on your anthropometry or the genetic or your diet records or from the biochemical markers that we get, as well as using the gut microbiota, which is also called as your second brain. So based on all these data, we use to collect all these data, we use again NMR, GCMS, LCMS, all these techniques, and that will help us to classify the groups as metabolic phenotypes. And the use of this classification is we can give early risk identification, we can give a delivery of targeted advice, as well as we can help to respond to dietary challenges and how each of these metabotypes react, or how they respond to the various intervention programs. So this is another way. So this metabotype has been now under research, and many of them have published in various publications, like how they will be helpful and how they have benefited by giving a proper recommendation for obesity or type 2 diabetes based on the metabolic phenotyping methods. And from population-based nutrition, they can go into for tissue metabotype-based nutrition. And this has also been tested on postpartum mothers on the ureoleptin content. So all these are the latest techniques involving AI. So when we come to the omics research, what could be the future? Because as we talk about this omics research, it involves a lot of high throughput technologies, and we know all the middle income countries are lacking funds because all these analyses are pretty expensive. And when we wanted to go in for metabolics or omics research, then probably for each individual sample, it costs a lot. So we compromise on limiting the number of samples in order to have evidence. So that is what is lacking now. But in future, this will help us to develop or create more precise scientific evidence for us to go in for a precision nutrition approach. And after this omics research comes your nutritional biomarkers. They are very important when it comes to precision nutrition. So we collect samples, we do the molecular analysis, we identify the novel biomarkers, and then we go in for a personalized medicine or a personalized nutrition approach. So we have different types of biomarkers that can be used as predictive biomarkers, that can be used for treatment, that can be used to test the toxicity levels, as well as for monitoring the recurrence of any disease. And what is the benefit of using an AI-driven nutritional biomarker? So this is one such example to analyze aging. So you can see from this picture, like in 2019, these were the biomarker panels that helps to predict age. So when they predicted, it was 38 years. And years go by, we identified more and more biomarker panels. And once we do the analysis, it shows your predictive age is 36. So this is, again, in its infancy stage, we need to identify more nutritional biomarkers, and we match them with the individuals. And it can be applied for various preventive care. And what is the role of these molecular biomarkers? So they will help us to have a personalized diagnosis that can help us to plan a therapy or intervention. So that is why we go in for these molecular biomarkers. And apart from that, we have the digital biomarkers, which is very popular nowadays. So these are nothing but like your normal biomarkers, they are measured, but using gadgets or wearables. So they also give you real-time data, and that is easy to handle and portable, wearable, or it can be implanted or digestible. So this data will be used to confirm the presence of any disease and potentially how to prevent those pathologies. So these are the various digital wearables and sensors that we have in the market today. We have smart glasses, smartwatch, smart shirt, we have the GPRS body control, we have Bluetooth key trackers, smart shoes, smart socks, pants, belt, ring, fingers, bracelets. So all these are gadgets that help you to give data on your, either it can be your blood pressure or your glucose levels or your other physiological conditions. So we need to validate whether these gadgets or wearables can be used and whether that can be used for research purposes. So already they have done research, especially with the Pennington Biomedical Research Center, where they found that these measurements were very close to all the other biomarkers, and except the DEXA scan, and their results were pretty good. And it also provides a slider that will let you to know your body shape when you increase or decrease your body weight. And this is a continuous digital biomarker from the Apple Watch. So this will help you to find out your sleep pattern, your fitness levels, your stress levels, your illness and all that. And this will be paired with the analytical tools, and that will help you to create patterns for both individuals as well as in a population group. And currently, this science is evolving and we see latest developments every year. So the current exponential development is all these gadgets, which is very easy to carry, very easy to use, and all your data will come in your smartphones. So these are various gadgets that we have in the market right now. And what is the difference between having a traditional and an AI approach? While in traditional methods, the limitations are every data that we gather is time consuming and it is more prone to human errors. And for each individual assessment, we have to do it manually, and all the data are recorded manually, and there are more chances of getting errors or bias. But the advantages, they are less expensive and does not require a very trained person to take or collect the data. It's very low maintenance and they are very easy to bring to their field work. But in AI integrated methods, they are pretty expensive, and we have to frequently calibrate all these equipments and gadgets, and the maintenance levels is sometimes very, very expensive, and you need a trained person to handle these gadgets and to collect and interpret your data in the more accurate way. But the advantages are it gives you a very precise and accurate measurement, and you don't have to take individual measurements. All at one go is done using all these gadgets. And it also helps you to have a predictive model for the various features. It can automatically save your data, and you can have a 3D image or a 4D image that can be obtained through these data. So when it goes to dietary measurements, again, we have different methods to take diet surveys. This is the traditional methods that we have in practice now, which is a food balance sheet or the inventory methods, a food weighment method, a 24-hour recall questionnaire, or a FFQ, or a food diary. So this is the common methods of diet surveys. And all these methods are based on the individual's memory. So if the individual fails to recall some of the foods, then there can be an error in your measurement. So all these measurements requires, again, a trained interviewer. It also relies on the individual's ability to remember things, and mostly these are biased. And you know, if you have done a food frequency questionnaire, it takes minimum of half an hour to 45 minutes for one person to collect data from one person. So all these are time consuming. But now we have novel innovative dietary assessment methods, which can be by the use of different web pages that is created by smartphone apps, through collecting various videos and pictures of the food, or by giving the text or voice messages. So that will help you to identify your portion size as well as a food type. And there is another one based on the dietitian assisted assessment method. Same thing, we capture the photos of the food that we consume and we upload them on the platform. And that will be assessed by a dietitian, and that will give you a corresponding nutrient intake. The other method is wearable device to monitor your food intake. And this is based on your eating gesture. How many times you chew the food, or how much time you take to swallow the food, your hand movements. So all these are to complement your self-reported nutrient intake. And another thing is on the computer-aided assessment. So here you can just scan your barcodes from the food packets that you buy, and then you have applications that will create 3D version of your food based on the images and gives you what are the macronutrient and the micronutrient values. So this is a latest app, Go Food app. So this is an artificial intelligence system for dietary assessment. So we take different pictures, we segment the food, identify the food, and it estimates your food volume. And then based on the food volume, it gives you your macronutrients and micronutrient levels. So this is one of the most popular methods. And then we have this My Food 24 online dietary assessment survey. So here, this is very easy to use, and this has been used in UK and US for research purposes as well. It is all based on the food that you consume through pictures or through audio files. So they give you a fast and accurate dietary assessment method. It is all as self-completed food diaries, and more than 220 nutrients and 14,000 foods are available. So you can try this app, but this is applicable more to the US and UK population. So this is how it does. Either you can take images of your foods or the nutritional information that is given in a food packaging, or from the recipes, or from the restaurants what offer the food. So by visual and contextual information that is embedded into this intelligent system, and we get the analysis, we can get the calorie intake of the particular food that we consume. The other way that is being used mostly in the hospital settings is a NutriCam dietary assessment. And this is another app-based one. So you can take the pictures of the food, upload, and then they will give you what is the amount of food that you eat a day. So this is all based on cloud computing. So there are thousands of pictures that have been stored, and based on the pictures, they match your food based on what is being stored in the cloud, and then give you a nutritional assessment. So these are the different mobile apps that we have. And smart plates, again, this is being introduced by the General Electronics company. It is a calorie counter, and they have tested this on most of the clinical settings. And the thing is, it works with the infrared rays. You place the food on the plate, and that has got many sensors, and these sensors will tell you how much of nutrient is present in the particular food. And this is more precise and accurate because it measures the food exact amount, how much you consume. Normally, we will miss this information when we do other traditional weighment methods. So this will precisely tell you how much of food you have consumed and what is the nutrient composition in that particular amount of food that you consume. So they have tested this on clinical patients, but to take it to the field, again, you need a lot of funds. So the other easy and very compact way of measuring is NutriWeigh and Go Dietary Computer Scale. So it can help you to calculate the nutritional values of the food that you consume. And this contains a database of nearly 1,400 foods, and it will help you to record your daily food intake up to 7 days. So you can create your own diet. So this is another easiest method, and it's very compact. You can carry in your bag. And we have diet sensors. Through this is a French startup. So they produce a pocket-sized Bluetooth connected molecular sensor. So that is called as Psycho. And just hold this over the food and click the button, and then it will give you the amount of macronutrients that is present. So when we have all the data generated, which is more precise, more accurate, we converge them, and that can be used either for planning an intervention or for predicting a risk for a particular disease or the diagnosis of a disease. And I think Dr. Kalpana started with what is a digital twin. So this is just a replica of oneself. So based on all these large amount of data sets that you have, right from your diet history, from your family history, your clinical history, your gut microbiota, your physical activity, your stress levels, sleep patterns, and all those are integrated, and they help you to create a replica of yourself. And then again, as she said, they will test this, how an intervention works for an individual. And this virtual digital twins is considered as one of the 10 most strategic emerging concepts for the near future. And this is going to be the future of precision nutrition. So we need all these data. It can be multi-omics approach, all the physical and biochemical markers, the environment factors, the exposure, demographic data, lifestyle data, and in silico approaches if you're taking any drugs, as well as for clinical trials. So when we have all these gadgets, how far it is good, how much it is validated, and how effectively it can be used in a research settings. So we have ethical issues because all those data that we collect, we need to have the data privacy. So we have in 2019, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development on Artificial Intelligence, they adapted rules. So they created 27 AI laws, and that has been adopted by all the G20 countries. And we have the FDA and AI ML-based software in medical settings. And we also have all this based on the WHO guidance on ethics and governance for health. And in 2023, the European Parliament have already implemented the Artificial Intelligence Act. So each countries have to set up their own governance to make sure that the data privacy is maintained, and whatever the gadgets that come into the countries and whatever that is being implemented in their particular country have to be validated. So in Malaysia, we have a department called CIRIM, which gives a certification for all those digital healthcare appliances that we use in hospital settings as well as for research purposes. So without this CIRIM, none of these companies can come and promote their products. So in conclusion, what we have to do to move forward. So in the past, all these approaches were focusing on a single focus on nutritional genomics. And now we have increasing multi-omic integration due to the various high throughput technologies that we have. And in future, this will be more taken to the public, and this can be made affordable to each and every individual.
Ma'am, the next speaker is already in.
Yes, ma'am, I'll conclude now.
Okay.
Sorry. So this is a strategic precision nutrition plan for 2020 to 2030, where we have to have more discoveries, more innovation. We have to investigate the different dietary patterns in the population group and define the role of various nutrition across a lifespan, as well as help to reduce the burden of disease in any clinical settings. So we are going to integrate data science, artificial intelligence, and then help to train the members in the country to use these approaches. And what we see as challenges, we have less approaches, we have less technology and trained persons who can help to collect and interpret data in a more proper way. We need standardization for training, and in middle income countries and lower middle income countries, we do not have enough scientific evidence to go in for a precision nutrition approach. So we are still in a very, very infancy stage. So always remember, there's no Superman. So it involves a partnership between various institutions. It can be academia, it can be clinicians, it can be patients, it can be the diagnostic companies, the entrepreneurs, the policymakers. So it involves a holistic approach. So the more partnership we establish, then we can get more scientific evidence. So remember, there is no single one reflection of nutrition and health. And to move forward, we have to research, to do research. We have to research to have more diagnostic plans and research that can benefit the society at large. Remember, we are what we eat. What we put in your gut or in your stomach is what matters. So thank you for your time. We'd like to take any questions from you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was such an insightful session. Collection of digital data using artificial intelligence for medical and nutrition care process was well presented by Dr. Anto Cordelia. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you to Dr. Kyle and IAPN for giving me this opportunity to present. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I now invite Ms. Kanchana to introduce Dr. Meenakshi Bajaj to share her views. Ma'am, we are actually eagerly waiting from the moment we saw the brochure to know about what is 101 not out.
Yamini, my slides are visible, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Dr. Meenakshi Bajaj ma'am is currently working as a dietitian in Tamil Nadu Government Multi-Super Speciality Hospital, Chennai. Ma'am is the registered dietitian, author, reviewer, and columnist. Dr. Meenakshi Bajaj ma'am is the former dietitian in Institute of Diabetology, Rajiv Gandhi Government General Hospital, and Madras Medical College, Chennai. She is the active NEC member in Indian Dietetic Association and also chapter convener in Netrofan, Chennai, and also treasurer in Association of Diabetes Educator. Ma'am is the reviewer in European Journal of Clinical Nutrition, Diabetes and Metabolic Syndrome, Clinical Research and Reviews, and Journal of Diabetology. Dr. Meenakshi Bajaj is the co-editor in Journal of Indian Dietetic Association. Ma'am is the member of District Advisory Committee, Eat-Right Chennai, Board of Studies, Department of Nutrition and Dietetics, Peria University, Salem. Member Board of Studies, Department of Food Science and Nutrition, the Gandhigram Rural Institute, Dindigul, and Board of Ethics Committee, Department of Home Science, Women's Christian College, Chennai. Ma'am is the past convener in Indian Dietetic Association, Chennai chapter. She is the faculty, Department of Nutrition and Dietetics in Madras Medical College, Chennai. Ma'am is the author of Diet Metrics Handbook of Food Exchange 2019 and Two Lives, Twice as Precious, and Medical Nutrition Therapy for Hyperglycemia in Pregnancy 2023. Her contribution in field of nutrition is highly commendable. Welcome, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
A very good evening to one and all present here. Can I be given the rights to share my screen and show on my video?
Yeah, ma'am. Just a minute.
Am I audible?
Yeah, ma'am.
Am I
You are
audible?
audible.
Oh.
Yeah, ma'am.
You are audible.
A very good evening to one and all present here. At the outset, I'm truly grateful to Dr. Kyle Willi ma'am, Dr. Biju sir, Uma Shankari, a very good friend of mine, for giving me the opportunity to be talking to you on something which is very simple, but then which is talk of town today's date. And it was amazing to listen to our former speaker. It looks like we are still sitting in an infant stage in India, wherein there is so much of it being already used from 2019 till 2023. I do not know. I hope and pray that we move the ladder soon and we are not left behind in the race. So today the topic given to me is 101 not out. So everybody will be wondering, what is this 101 not out? We've already, always witnessed cricket matches, whether it's IPL or T20. Though I'm not a very great fan of cricket, but then this 101 not out actually interested me a lot. And I thought it would be really nice for the younger generation to learn the concept of today, what's being spoken of so often around us, wherein we are looking at the population who are centenarian population without CVD, without DM, without Alzheimer's. So end of the day, when we are using precision nutrition or personalized nutrition, finally, it has to be extrapolated to what one can eat. If I am to prevent diabetes, CVD, Alzheimer's, dementia, I can go on with the list. Whatever I want to prevent, end of the day, this precision nutrition, or as I still would say that in India, we're still sitting with personalized nutrition, and maybe we moved a little more beyond to gut microbiota, but the pocket is a big question. So I wish we overcome this difficulty. So anyway, when we are talking of 101 not out, what can I do to get healthier, doctor? This is what is a common WhatsApp message, which one would see often. And the doctor would say, use a cycle, go on bicycling, do some swimming, do some physical activity, cut down some carbs. I think that will do wonders. Yes, cutting down carbs does wonders in improving your metabolic profile, whether it's a triglycerides, bringing down your total cholesterol, as well as your LDL cholesterol indirectly, because with carbs, you have also fat coming along. Carb just does not come as carb on your plate. It's always accompanied with sources of saturated fat or trans fat, especially when it comes from ultra processed foods. If they're home cooked, yes, definitely we can make a difference. Otherwise, I think when one is served, which is packaged, processed, it always comes with free extra sodium, extra saturated fat, and extra sugar. So unfortunately, though we are moving towards digitization, but here the digitization has not done good to the present generation. I would say at least in India, we have seen that the COVID-19 pandemic hit us hard, and that's when this food apps came up in a big way. I wish instead of the food apps, if we had AI apps which could help our present population to identify which is healthy and then track or tweak their diet. I would say tweak their diet to the right diet. That would have done good. But at the touch of a finger, it's always the French fries or the burgers or the biryani which is walking into the younger generation's residence. And unfortunately, bariatric surgery was only heard of a few years ago. About 9 years ago, it was only heard of with a few people going in for bariatric. Today's date, bariatric is like become like we have the pandemic of diabetes. I wouldn't say epidemic of diabetes. I would say pandemic of diabetes. After COVID-19, we've had a large population walking into both type 1 and type 2 diabetes because of the damage to the pancreatic beta cells. So this in turn has led to a lot of bariatric surgeries. It's like become free for all. It's not free for all, but at the same time, the government of Tamil Nadu has given an option wherein they can be covered with insurance, a bariatric surgery. So it's taken up more now even by the rural population who are the non-affording population. Obviously, there are some indications. Apart from the indications, the most important indications being sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is one important thing which needs to be tracked down when you are about 150 kgs, 180 kgs. You have no choice where lifestyle modification may not. So then now, as I showed to you the previous slide, which said cut down your carbs, which means there was an entry into fad diets way ago in. Even today, we hear a lot of apple cider vinegar being consumed by a lot of population who want to lose weight. They don't realize that if they're going to consume on apple cider vinegar beyond a particular volume which is permitted, they would land up with gastritis or erosions of the GI tract, either upper GI tract or the lower GI tract, and actually make things worse. So in that way, if you're going to lead to esophagitis or ulcers or erosions, automatically the person is not going to consume adequate food and going to lose weight. That sort of a weight loss is only loss of muscle mass and not fat loss. So in other words, as early as 1820, we had the vinegar and the water diet. Gradually, we moved on to coming up to banana and skim milk diet. I'm sure all of us would have heard the BRAT diet. BRAT is the banana, rice, apple, toast diet, which was used for ulcers. So similarly, different diets have been used. In 1970s, we had the sleeping beauty diet, wherein you put the individual to sleep for about 2 weeks, and 2 weeks she or he is not going to eat or going to consume a meal. Automatically, there is going to be loss of fat. Fat first, the muscle, and then maybe the fat loss. But that's not a healthy way of losing weight. Then we came into the Dr. Wilder's ketogenic diet, which was proposed as early as 1920s. And unfortunately, it was used mainly for those patients who were resistant to anti-epileptics. And when the young children were put to ketogenic diets, that is a very, very low carbohydrate and a high fat diet, the worry was not whether it's saturated, poly or mono, but they did, emphasize more on MCT-based fat, which in turn to be found to be saturated fats. When they're put on such high fats, obviously they did improve in their seizures, but that is for those population who were resistant to anti-epileptics. But they found a side effect for that particular diet when it was consumed was the patient lost weight. So now that is being abused in our population for weight loss, because most often the ketogenic diets which are proposed, by unqualified quacks without any supervision, without the hand holding of a dietitian, on regular basis, they'll end up consuming about 6 to 12 eggs for breakfast or 70 almonds or 70 walnuts, and the lunch is probably half kg of red meat. They are not bothered whether it's saturated or whether it's loaded with cholesterol. And the dinner being either paneer or cheese or only nuts, immaterial of what sort of nut you're going to consume, a lot of coconut oil and green tea. So they forget that there could be micronutrient deficiency and so much more add on to it. This is because they have not been hand-holded. But obviously there are certain diet patterns wherein you can go very low carb, but under the supervision. In fact, very low carb, very low calorie diets are proposed pre-bariatric surgeries also, so that the liver size comes down and it's easy for the surgeon to go on and operate. In fact, there was a smoking diet also. In this smoking diet, whenever the patient is hungry, he just goes and takes a smoke. Actually, wherein I work currently in Tamil Nadu Government Multi-Super Specialty Hospital, we see a lot of CA esophagus, see a lot of CA stomach, a lot of head and neck cancer patients, a lot of oral cavity cancers. The reason being they either smoke or they starve because they do not have, 1 square meal, or they cannot afford 1 square meal, and they land up with such cancers. So on the other hand, we use such smoking patterns in order to lose weight. Anyway, the diet just continues. Different fat diets are there. So this is the ketogenic, wherein they choose the negative calories like the brinjal, broccoli, capsicum, and the list just goes on. So when one chooses on such diets, what happens? There is halitosis, there is a risk of hypoglycemia, constipation, micronutrient deficiencies. In fact, I have seen patients with hyperuricemia, hypertriglyceridemia. I've also seen patients with raised renal parameters walking into from AKI to chronic kidney disease. The list just goes on. And we always think it's the ketogenic diet which could do harm to us when it is not done under supervision. What happens to our traditional diets which have been modified, over gradual basis to feed us calories? So when we go out, I would say not we go out, when anybody chooses to eat out, they do not do, when they don't do mindful eating, this is what happens. So you look at this, a mutton biryani, a 1 kg mutton biryani would provide you approximately 1,450 kilocalories. These numbers have not been derived by some pictures from Google or anywhere. All these foods have gone into the bomb calorimeter under the supervision of Dr. Rebecca in St. John's Medical College. And they have come up with the calories from these particular foods, which I have been showing on the screen today. So if you look at a chicken pizza, which is about 250 grams, provides almost 700 calories, half of the plate of mutton biryani. And if you look at a South Indian thali meal, everybody think that, okay, I have paid some 200 rupees or 300 rupees for the South Indian thali meal, and I should make the best of the money what I have provided. But they forget that they probably may be consuming their whole day's calorie requirement through one South Indian thali. The shocker was the masala dosa, which provides 1,000 calories when it is consumed with all the accompaniments which are provided, from the coconut chutney to the potatoes, which are filled, and some of them carry cashew, some of them carry edible hydrogenated fat. You call it and the list is there. So the next concept would not be not to go on keto and not to go off our mindful eating pattern. So then came Dan Buettner. He's the man who had the idea of experimenting, researching, and discovering. Actually, he's a discoverer, explorer, scientist, author. What did he actually do? The idea first came from a 2004 paper, which was published in Experimental Gerontology, wherein colored maps were used to track average lifespans across the island of Sardinia. So what did they find? And the highest concentrations of centenarians happen to be the colored blue. So they found 5 areas globally which were marked as blue. The reason they were marked as blue was they found the maximum number of population, male as well as female population, who crossed the number 100 in their age, with reference to having concentrated centenarians in these 5 areas. So what was his job next? He started around prodding to find out what was their diet pattern, what was their day-to-day lifestyle pattern, and what were they doing on day-to-day basis with reference to their physical activity, with reference to emotional bonding. How did they achieve this number of 100 and beyond without developing CVD, dementia, Alzheimer's, type 2 diabetes, and living healthily? So the 5 regions which were identified and marked as blue was Loma Linda in California, Nicoya, Costa Rica, Sardinia in Italy, Icaria in the island of Greece, Okinawa in Japan. Now, what were these 5 places offering to us in terms of having centenarians? How did they manage to have centenarians? Were they following a blue zone desert recipe for protein-rich black bean brownies? So were they having a lot of sugars in it? Were they not having sugars? Were they just thriving on the black beans, which are considered to be rich in antioxidants? What were they exactly doing? So they found in Icaria, an isolated green island, they found that the lower rates of middle-aged mortality and dementia was found majorly in this Greek island. What were they consuming in this Greek island? They were following a so-called Mediterranean. Even today, we know that 5 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables, whole grains, nuts, dash of olive oil, and cutting down on the saturated fat and spending more of the time consuming omega-3 fatty acid rich foods and cutting down on sugar sweetened beverages, ultra processed foods, and red meats, banking more on nuts, oil seeds, greens, beans, and not to forget physical activity. That's how they landed up with lower rates of middle-age mortality. So at middle age, the mortality rate came down along with dementia. Now, on the Greek island of Icaria, where it said that simply people forget to die. It was a beautiful statement, which I put it in quotes, that people forget to die. I've tucked into a hearty bowl of Mindstone with friends who not only live long, healthy lives, but also stay sharp because there's no dementia to the very end and suffer the world's lowest rates of dementia. That's amazing to read here that they chose on Mediterranean diet for this purpose. Now, next came the Italian island of Sardinia. What did they find here? They found that death due to diabetes, cancer, aging, all of it was on a very, very low. The world's highest concentration of centenarian men was found in the Italian island of Sardinia, wherein they followed a very, very diet. And what did they do in this diet also? They chose on a special bread which was made from durum meat, and also they chose on cheese which was made from grass-fed animals instead of the corn-fed animals. So the Italian island, you find that the world's highest concentration of centenarian men were here. They were on a low protein diet, and the rates of diabetes, cancer, and death for people under the age of 65 was really low. As I mentioned to you, they did consume the durum wheat bread. So what is the beauty about consuming a grass-fed diet in order to consume that particular cheese? They make cheese from animals that ate grass instead of being corn-fed, resulting in a healthier omega-3 fatty acid ratio than most. They found that the omega fatty acid ratio was much higher in those who were fed on grass, because grass is also a source not only of calcium, iron, phosphorus, fiber, but also of omega-3 fatty acids, wherein they found that 62% more healthy omega-3 fatty acids than the conventional milk, partly due to the cow's diet of fresh grass. So the pasture grasses and the legumes provide milk cows with building blocks for health, promoting omega-3 fatty acids as well as the rich earthy flavor in the grass-fed whole milk from where the cheese was prepared. Now, next comes the Loma Linda in California. What did they do? They believed in living another 10 years more than the usual population. What were they consuming? They were consuming pesco vegetarian diet or a vegan diet. So here, what did they find? This community had the highest concentration of Seventh-day Adventists in the United States, and some residents lived 10 more healthy years than the average American meat eater. They followed the biblical diet, wherein they consumed more of vegetables, nuts, fruits, grains, vegan diet, or some of them consumed a pesco vegetarian, that is a fish-eating vegetarian diet, like how we would see in the in West Bengal, in our country, where a lot of vegetarians consume fish. Now, next came the Costa Rica isolated Nicoya Peninsula, wherein we found the second highest concentration of the male centenarians. So what did they do? Here, they found that they spent a lot of time praying, doing socializing, and low level of physical activity. What does this mean, low level of physical activity? So the main concept was they needed to be physically active and do it at a slow process, but maintain the physical activity. For example, if they wanted to go for the grocery, they would walk up. They would carry their grandchildren and go up. They would take their pets for a walk. They would climb up the hill for a little bit of a pastime. So the little bit of walking, little bit of physical activity, which was sustainable, which was more important than doing something which is not long-term. Like hitting a gym for about 1.5 hours twice daily may not be a sustainable option for everybody, but doing low level of physical activity, but on regular basis and keeping your mind calm by spending at least an hour on praying did wonders to these populations settled down in isolated Nicoya Peninsula. So what did they really do here? They had the second highest concentration of male centenarians. As I mentioned to you, they had a strong faith in community. They did have a bonding with their local communities, deep social networking, habits of regular low intensity physical activity. Now, last but not the least came the blue zone diet from the Okinawa in Japan. So what did they do? They basically went, they believed in a lot of consumption of spices like turmeric. Like in India, we consume a lot of turmeric, a lot of sweet potato, may not be a lot of mushroom, but a lot of bitter melon, a lot of whole grams. Yes, now the population is moving more towards the ultra-processed foods, unfortunately. But here, they consume the fennel seeds, the turmeric, which is very often used in day-to-day cooking in our Indian population. And recently, a lot of people have started consuming the sweet potatoes in the evening as a healthy snack by squeezing some lime over the sweet potato in order to convert it into the resistant starch. So a lot of seaweed is consumed there in Okinawa, Japan, and mushrooms. Mushrooms are a super bumper source of vegetarian protein with hardly any carb in it. So unfortunately, they have seen that the ultra-processed foods which push towards cardiovascular disease, obesity, Alzheimer's, and different types of cancers, they have entered into our country through the reports of What India Eats, which was published by ICMR in 2020. It told us very, very clearly that in the urban population, the ultra-processed foods, which are otherwise known as the high-fat, salt, sugar, high fat, which is a saturated fat, a lot of sodium, a lot of sugar, which has penetrated into the urban part of our country, more than 10%. And unfortunately, the rural population is getting addicted to this to as high as 4.4%. So this is negated by the diet which is followed by Okinawa in Japan. What did they do? They actually went on to plant-based diets, whole foods, whole grains, dipped into chronic inflammatory diseases like the CVD, cancer, Alzheimer's, diabetes, and obesity, and concentrated more on fennel, mushroom, seaweeds, sweet potatoes, soy, turmeric, and bitter melon. So what are the 9 principles which the blue zone diet follows? It talks of moving naturally, have a purpose. What do you mean by saying a purpose in life? Every morning when you get up, you start with thinking of what is your goal. What do you want to achieve in life? And then you start fresh with the day with the purpose as to what you're planning to do through the day and reach your goal. Downshifting, come down to bring down your stress level. 80% rule, which is the Hara Hachi Bu, which I will be talking to you soon. Go and slant more towards the plant-based diet. Wine at 5, but I disagree with this wine at 5. I will come back to you on this. Meet with the right tribe, loved ones first, and belong, say prayers. So what did they do? They move naturally, as I mentioned to you, go on to physical activity, cut down on wine and dine when you meet with your friends on regular basis, and have the sense of purpose. Every morning when you get up, you decide what is your goal and move towards your goal. Downshift your stress, bring down your stress, calm down. There's no hurry. As Dr. Chokkalingam, having celebrated World Heart Day yesterday, we have a very famous cardiologist in Chennai, who is Professor Chokkalingam. He always says, be positive, whatever may be your blood group. And whatever said and done, no hurry, no worry, no curry. So reduce your stress level. Believe me, it does wonders. What do the Okinawans do? They meditate a few moments a day. The Icarian in the Greek island, they take a nap in the afternoon. And the Sardinian, they pray and have a happy hour. They do spend time laughing. So the rule of 80% is eat only up to your full 80%, which is possible. When you choose on a lot of plant-based diet, give you early satiety, follow lente carbs, which will give you the second meal effect. And remember to not to forget to chew on your food. Go on the size of your plate to come down from the 12-inch to the 9-inch and then to the 6 inches plate. Remember, if you're 80% full, it takes you about, your brain takes about 20 minutes more to decide that you're almost 80% full. But then you looking at your plate, you should decide that I'm 80% full and you should stop eating, because your brain will give you the signal only 20 minutes after that. By then you would have almost finished your entire meal. So take a smaller plate. That is the first way. Portion control is number 2. Third is lente carbs, all the oats, the barley and the whole grams, as well as the complex carbohydrates coming from fruits and vegetables. They should satiate you. And end of the day, you don't need to eat the entire buffet around you or the entire South Indian thali, which is served to you in a wedding buffet. Keep away from eating full and concentrate on a lot of polyphenols, which are naturally occurring from the foods which are local, seasonal, and we don't need to buy a lot of exotic fruits in order to give us polyphenols. So there, what did they do? The Sardinians, they chose on Cananu, which is a type of wine, just 3 times the polyphenols. But then we have different other food sources which can give us polyphenols. We don't have to really look at wine. The reason being that WHO has recently announced that when you consume even one small quantity of alcohol through the day, I would say as small as 1 ounce a day, if you're a female population, small quantity a day, even for long periods of time, will increase your blood pressure. So WHO says that immaterial of what the volume of alcohol you're going to consume or the percentage of alcohol, no amount of alcohol is permitted hereafter in order to be healthy. So belief and spirituality is important, taking care of the loved ones. This was a beautiful concept which I read through the Blue Zone diet. Thanks to Dan Buechner about this. This is nothing but the grandmother effect. When children spend a lot of time with their grandparents or vice versa, there's an increment in the life or the longevity by 7 years, both in the grandchild as well as in the grandparents. So I think it's a beautiful effect, known as the grandmother's effect, which one should remember to always live not in a neutral family, but in a joint family, because sharing is caring. And whenever there is a lot of food to be shared by a lot of population, the risk of obesity comes down. So end of my slide would be retreat from red meat, reduce on saturated fat by cutting down on whole dairy, slash the sugars. I wouldn't say 28 grams, which is about 7 teaspoons, which is quite large a number. I think we would restrict to about 1 to 2 teaspoons a day. In the case of a child, they can go as high as 25 grams based on WHO's guidelines. 3 eggs per week based on if there is no dyslipidemia or no raise in triglyceride or total cholesterol or already a known CVD or a CAD. Go easy on fish, at least 3 ounces of fish 3 times a week, but prefer the lake water fish, freshwater fish, not the mercury laden or the dioxin laden seawater fish. Snack on nuts, they are wonderful. Well, and choose on unsalted nuts and prevent the roasted nuts, which are usually being preferred when people take a flight from one city to another city, because there the AGE, dietary AGE. Drink mostly water, cut down on beverages which will add on to your sugar or alcohol. Daily dose of beans are important for their soluble and insoluble fiber content, and go wholly whole. At least have one food ingredient in your diet which is not processed, because cooking is also a source of processing. So go 95 to 100% plant-based. And they say pre-plate your meal, take a plant-based slant, quarter of it whole grains, quarter of it healthy protein, plant-based protein. The remaining of it could be fruits and veggies. But remember, if you're a PWD, person with diabetes, avoid fruit along with your plate. It has to be only in between your meal. Use a skinny glass for any sweetened beverage. Eat from a smaller plate. Schedule family dinners so that you learn to eat and share more and eat less. Thank you so much for your patient listening. I would want to show this small video It's time we changed. It's time we moved. Even when the lion can move from being a carnivore to a herbivore, I think it's time we move from going plant-based diet, which will help our gut microbiota and prevent us from so many diseases, and which will help our longevity without all these conditions, especially the non-communicable diseases, and live 1 or 2, not out without of any of these complications. Thank you so much for this patience.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such a wise discussion. It was a lucid presentation, and you have well portrayed the blue zone diet and highlighted about the black bean brownies, which is plant-based, and surely we will include all the best blue zone foods which increases longevity. Thank you, ma'am. Coming to our final technical session, emotional fitness is our ability to mentally bounce back from tough times and to weather through the highs and lows of life with relative emotional stability. Better you. I hope all are waiting to listen to Mr. Srijit Krishnan, who is a HR person, life coach, change maker, seasoned facilitator, and whatnot. Now I invite Mrs. Ankita to introduce Mr. Srijit Krishnan to introduce the lecture about emotional fitness, which is the need of the heart.
Thank you, Yamini, once again. And this is time to talk about one personality, one such personality out of 1,000 who has been selected today for as our resource person, Mr. Srijit Krishna. Mr. Srijit Krishna, when we talk, he is a life coach and a seasoned facilitator. He has educated, inspired, and transformed thousands of people from different walks of life through his life-changing personal growth, workshops, and seminars. Srijit has more than 18 years of industry experiences in core HR functions. He has held senior positions in leading corporations like AGS, Infosys, Canon, and managed different people development initiatives. Currently, he is in the head of learning and development at Sony India Software Center in Bangalore. Mr. Srijit did his post-graduation in management and applied psychology. He is a certified happiness coach from Berkeley Institute of Wellbeing. He has a wide spectrum of knowledge as he has created wisdom shots, his popular video blog series on his YouTube channel, which makes him an immense storyteller, change maker, life coach, and motivator. Ultimately, he guides thousands of his followers in one or the other way in their life, making them possible to reach their goals or their wish lists. He produced short videos with the intention of helping improve your daily life through relatable stories, fresh ideas, and useful resources. His lessons from his videos created profound impact in number of life in some or the other way, as I told. HR professional, and he has a strong knowledge and experience in the learning and development domain. His many areas of specialization includes organizational development, mapping, facilitatory development center, and performance coaching. So with a warm heart, we want to welcome Mr. Srijit Krishna to enlighten on his topic and to enlighten all of us with his kind words. So up to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Ankita. Can you give me the rights to switch on my video and share? Okay, great.
Yeah, sir, we did. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. So really excited to connect with you. First of all, I just want to thank Dr. Kyle and the organizing committee for this invite. I was just listening to all the speakers before me. Very insightful, very interesting things. I'm really passionate about health and wellness. So I learned a lot of things, from the last 2-3 speakers. Okay, I'll not take much time. So I have a short session. It's about emotional fitness. So let me share my screen. Okay, just give me a thumbs up if you can see my PPT on your screen. Yeah, it's good, all good. All right. So, let me start with this question. Okay. One of the most widely asked question, whenever we meet strangers or whenever we connect with people, the question is, how are you? Right. And whenever somebody asks this question and a response mostly is a lie, right? I'm good. I'm fine. I'm happy. Right. So, and if you look at our life is a pursuit of happiness. So whatever we do, right, everything we are doing to feel good, we want more money or we want to kind of pursue a lot of things to feel good, to feel happy or any other positive emotions. But we all know that, life is not always as beautiful, as we see in movies, right? So we have a lot of emotions, we go through a lot of emotions. So I just want to touch upon, the top emotions, which we all go through. And if you reflect on your own life, our emotions are like a pendulum, right? It's moved from one side to the other side, different emotions, positive, not so positive, feel good emotions, not so great, things like that. So if you look at this, this picture, there are different layers. The first layer are emotions. When you experience those emotions, there is something inside you will expand, right? Emotion like love or happiness or passion, or so whenever we experience this kind of emotions, there is something inside you which expands. I think somebody's mic is on. Can you keep yourself on mute? Yeah, thank you. When you experience these emotions, like there is something inside you expand, right? When you feel loved or when you feel like really happy, right, there is something inside you expand. The next layer are emotions where it's called transitional, where you feel a lot of sensations in your body, when you experience these emotions, whether it is stress or worry or anger or, all these emotions, you will actually feel a lot of sensations in your body. And the good thing is these emotions don't stay for a long time. So it's in transition. And then you have the third layer of emotions where you get stuck or you feel like it says imprisoning, right? You feel like you are in a prison when you experience emotions like fear or revenge, loneliness, violence, hatred, a lot of those strong emotions, right? So we all experience these emotions, and there is something called the emotional frequency scale. And in this picture, which you can see here right now, the left side one, the upward spiral, are high frequency positive emotions, right? And it's in that order, right? Freedom, love, appreciation are like really high frequency emotions. And in the other end, the downward spiral, emotions like fear, depression, powerlessness, being victim, all those are downward spiral emotions. And if you're a human being, we experience all these emotions, right? There's no option to come out of this. But if you really want to live a fulfilling, happy life, the best thing to do is to kind of, put an effort from your side to experience more of the positive emotions, right? The upward spiral emotions, right? So now how to do that, that's what I'm going to share with you in the next 10-15 minutes, right? So let me start with a very simple framework or a model, whatever you want to call, to change your state of mind. So this is especially if you're experiencing any of these downward spiral emotions. If you really want to come out of it, and if you really want to change that, there are different tools. So one of the tools I just want to introduce to you today is a tool which we all have access to, and I highly recommend you to kind of do some experiments with this, today or whenever you feel any negative emotions. The first one is our physiology, right? Our physiology and our emotions are linked. If I ask you to describe a depressed person, you all can kind of describe their body language. They'll be like looking down or closed or, walking slow, a different facial expression, right? And if I ask you to describe a happy person, it'll be the other extreme where, widened body language, positive facial expressions and things like that. And you will experience this in your life. So whenever you feel sad or depressed or unhappy, we try to close ourselves. We even close our rooms, right? Literally to shut ourselves. And if you want to cry, you will cry like this. You don't want to face anybody, right? We kind of close ourselves whenever we are sad or unhappy. And our breath pattern, it changes. When we are happy, we have we take long breaths. When we're unhappy, it's like a different breath pattern. So our physiology and our breath pattern, our whole body actually kind of create a lot of sensations, and you yourself experience a lot of sensations when you feel any of this negative emotion. So that's the first key. To change anything, we have to be aware. So whenever we are aware, okay, there is something happening, so just look at your body. And the first technique or hack is to change your physiology, right? So I'm just giving an example. If you feel like crying or unhappy and things like that, if you go for a walk outside, or if you look up and widen your body, it'll be very difficult to feel sad, because it's exactly opposite of being happy, right? So by changing your physiology, we can change our emotional state. Emotion is created by motion, right? The second thing is our focus, where we focus on. So I'll give an example to connect this. So imagine like two people are going for a party. We'll call as Mr. A and Mr. B. So Mr. A and Mr. B are going to the same party, all right? Now, Mr. A will go to the party and he'll see a fight in that party. Like some people are fighting in that party. So he decides to focus on that fight. So he will actually zoom his camera and look at, oh, people are fighting there, and all those not so positive things. So Mr. B will go to the same party. And even there's a fight there, he saw the fight, but he decided not to focus on the fight, but he will kind of look at the other side. There's some DJ happening there. People are having a good time. So he'll focus there, and he'll spend time with them. So next day I met both A and B, both are my friends. So I'll ask Mr. A, hey, how was the party? Mr. A's response will be like, oh, that party was sad, man. I don't know why I went for that party. People were fighting, blah blah blah. So I'll ask the same question to Mr. B, how was the party? His response will be, oh, that party was rocking, man. I had the best time of my life. Both of them went to the same party. The difference is where they focused. Okay, this is just like a generic example, but if you look at our life, this is the same thing we are doing. At any moment, at any second, we all have a choice. We all have an option to focus on, what's good, to focus on, things you're grateful for, to focus on the brighter side of things, to focus on, again, things which makes you happy. And you also have a choice to focus on negative things, to focus on, why me, why is it happening? You can switch on the TV and watch news and feel miserable, or a lot of places, right? So wherever our focus flows, our energy flows there. So one way to change our emotional state is to shift our focus. And how to do that, I'll give you some habits, to practice this. But just know these fundamentals. By changing your physiology, by changing your focus, you can change your state. And the third thing is the kind of words we use, right? So even right now, you are talking to yourself. You have a self-talk. You're having a conversation with yourself. What's a self-talk? Oh, it's already 5 o'clock. I'm feeling hungry, or I want to have a tea, or I want to call this person. Okay, what time will you stop? So you're having a conversation with yourself. And every second, every moment, we talk to ourselves all the time, right? More than anyone else, we talk to ourselves more. And this conversation with yourself, the words we use can be empowering, or these words can actually, limit your state of mind. So here we're talking about using powerful, empowering vocabulary, asking the right question. Like, to give an example, when things go wrong, when you're feeling bad and sad, if you ask questions like, why me, why God, why is it like this? Then, your brain will search all the files from the past, because you're born in this family, or because your planets are in some other position. You will have all those answers because you're asking the question, why me? But if you ask a different question, how can I turn this around? You will get a different response or different answer, right? So what I'm trying to say is the questions we ask, or the kind of conversations, we have with ourselves, will have an impact on our state of mind. And the good news is we all have the power to choose the right vocabulary, to ask the right question, right? Saying a lot of positive statements to yourself, over a period of time, it will influence your subconscious mind, and you will experience those positive emotions. So these three fundamental things, if you're aware and if you can make changes, you can change your emotional state. So, all this while I was listening to a lot of nutrition and things about, diet and things like that. There is something called emotional eating. So why do we go for this emotional hunger, it's called, why do we get emotional hunger? Because when we are experiencing all these negative emotions, we want to feel good. And food is, one of those things which will make us feel instantly good. So people, grab all those sugar and salt and, colas and things like that, which make them feel good. And they kind of associate, food or, sugar or things, the condition, to feel good. So whenever they are in a negative state or in a negative emotion, they grab those food and they put on weight, and it's all connected, right? It's called emotional hunger, not physical hunger. So if you practice some of these habits, which I'm going to share with you in the next 2-3 slides, you can actually, cut down your craving. You can, when you have any of those emotional cravings, you can actually balance that, by practicing these things. So what can we do about it? So we can do a lot of things to change our state of mind. And, knowing is not doing. I'm sure that a lot of these things, which I'm sharing it with you, it's not that you don't know all those things. You already know all those things. It's all about practice. It's all about, loving yourself and doing some self-care stuff. So I'll share with you 6 habits which you can practice every day. And believe me, if you take action, even if not 6, even if you take 2 or 3 things from this, and if you practice every day, your emotional state will be better, right? You will experience more of those positive emotions. So starting with, and all the 6 habits are related to these 3 things, okay? To change your physiology, to change your focus, to change and, to do something with your vocabulary, your words, okay? It's all connected to these 3 things. So let's start with, the first habit. And this habit was there in the previous slide of Meenakshi ma'am. It's about movement. The sign of life is movement. Because as I said, when we are sad or unhappy, we close ourselves, right? But when you move, we are moving our energy. We are moving. There's an emotional change when we move our body. So the first principle is, whenever possible, okay, keep moving. So there is a lot of research on this. This is a book called The Joy of Moving, and in that study or research, they found that if you don't move, or if your lifestyle is in a way that which is less than 5,000 steps, you'll be depressed and you'll be unhappy because you're having a sedentary lifestyle. So the ideal number is anything more than 7,500 steps, not 10,000. That's a different number. But ideally, if you can actually have a lifestyle where, these days you have a lot of, smart watches and phones, which will actually measure this. So if you have an active lifestyle where your step count is more than 7,500, and movement means it can be anything, right? It can be walking, it can be running, it can be doing household work, it can be like, walking to the grocery store, it can be anything, right? But movement is sign of life. And especially if you are emotionally unhappy, if you are depressed and things like that, the easiest thing to do to change your state is to move. Okay, and move more to live more. The second thing is our breath. Our breath and our emotions are linked. So when we are angry or fearful, we have this short breath. When you are going to a beautiful place, you take a long breath. Beautiful, right? So our emotions and breath are linked. So by controlling your breath, you can actually control your emotions. So the easiest thing to do is to take long breaths, because breath and emotions are linked. So there are hundreds of breathing exercises. This is one of my favorite. It's called box breathing. So whenever you are sad or stressed or depressed, you can try this, like maybe some 10 rounds. So the breathing pattern is like this. You will inhale to a count of 4, and then you will hold your breath to a count of 4. And then you will exhale to a count of 4, and then again breath hold for 4 seconds. It's called box breathing. It's a box. If you just do it like 10 times with awareness, you will feel good. And one more very important thing, all these exercises, breathing and things like that, just do it with a smile. Okay, there is a relationship again with your facial expression and your emotional state. There was one research in University of California. So what they did is, like, there were a lot of clinically depressed people, one of, those experiments. So they asked these people to put a fake smile for 20 minutes. Okay, 20 minutes, all they have to do is to, just put a fake smile. And after 30 days, and there was, one group which didn't do that, and this group did that, they had all those studies, and they found that the group, which had this fake smile for 30 days, for 20 minutes, their depression levels, they no longer required any, antidepressant pills, that kind of impact just by smiling for 20 minutes. So what I do personally is whenever I do some of these exercises and all, so I just do it with a smile. Okay, fake smile, of course, but actually that will make me feel good. So that's one, hack I just want to share it with you. So whenever you do exercise or breathing and things like that, do it with a smile. The impact will be double fold. The second thing, which is the focus part, right? So we generally live in the future or in the past most of the time. The present is this moment, this second, this second, this second, this second is the present. Okay, this present, this second, we don't have any problems. Even if you have some challenges or problems, they are in the future, or you're worrying about something happened in the past. So meditation, any form of meditation, mindfulness, so any practice which will help you to go deeper in yourself will help you to live in the present more, and it increases your awareness, right? You'll be aware of your emotions. So at least 5 or 10 minutes every day, invest in any mindfulness practices or meditation. Okay, it's powerful to shift your focus, right? Here you'll be focusing on your breath, or you're in the present moment, you're listening to some chant, all those things will help you to, reduce your stress levels. It enhance, your stress management will be better, your awareness will increase, your creativity will increase, and things like a lot of benefits of meditation. And the fourth, and this is one of my favorite practice, it's called the attitude of gratitude. Like if somebody gives you a gift, okay, if you open up that gift and if you say that, oh man, what gift is this? I didn't like this gift. All right. And I mean, we're just responding to a gift. So will the other person, will they give more gift to you? Not really, right? Because you're not appreciating the gift. So in the same way, a lot of things in our life, a lot of things which we experience in our life, it's actually a gift from somebody, maybe a gift from parents, or, or just put it in a different way, it's a gift from God, right? So when you appreciate that, when you are grateful to whatever you have in life, you will have more things to be grateful for. So it's again a shift in focus. Like when people join an organization, the focus is, oh, this company is great, I got a great job, blah, blah, blah. But after 5 years, the focus shifts. Oh my God, this is not good, that is not great, my manager is not supporting, your focus shifts, and then you leave the organization. Same with relationships. When you get married, initially, or when you're in love with somebody, so the initial phase, the focus is all about, such a wonderful relationship, a lot of positive things, and slowly your focus shifts. So when your focus shifts, and as I said, we all have a choice, right? So this gratitude or appreciating things is a different focus, a different response. And when you do that, more of those things, you will get more of things to be happy about. Right. So a couple of things. So one is like you can write it down every day, 3 or 4 things which you're grateful for. Or the simple thing is, before going to sleep, just close your eyes and, think about all the good things happen on that particular day, even the food you got, or you had some good time with somebody, or anything positive. Just appreciate. Right. And then you will have that habit, so it'll become a practice for you. So this is the fourth thing. So this is for the focus. And last 2 things with respect to the words. This is again one of my favorite. It's called incantations. So whatever you say to yourself over and over, and it'll have an impact on your subconscious. So one practice which I do every day is, as soon as I get up in the morning, I look myself in the mirror, give a high five to myself, and I put my hand on my heart and say, I'm safe, I'm okay, and I'm loved. Okay, just 3 simple statements. I'm safe, I'm okay, I'm loved. There are so many affirmations, so many statements. You can just keep repeating it. You can even write it down. So that's also great practice. And when you keep repeating, it will have an impact on your emotional level. Okay, I'm not getting into detail because there's a lot of research and studies in all these practices which I shared with you. And the last one is journaling. So whenever you feel stressed or any like not so positive experiences, just write it down. Just take it out of your head. Okay. And use positive words and write down what is that you want to see in your life. right? Imagine like something is not going on well in your relationship. So just write it down, just put it down in the paper and write down what kind of relationship you want. Okay, so there is a power in writing. And you can write and visualize, what kind of life you want, or, you can write your goals, write the kind of emotions you want to experience in your life. And there is a power, in writing, and then you will experience those emotions fast. Okay, so this 6 habits will not take much time. So maybe like, 30 minutes, like your magic morning rituals kind of a thing. Just do some exercise every day, do some meditation for 10 minutes, and have this, practice of, writing your, whatever grateful things, and move more, right? So just do a couple of these things and you will see that you will be living more in the positive state than the upward spiral, than in the negative spiral. So I just wanted to give you a 30 days challenge. So this challenge is something, I have an app where you can actually practice all these things. It's called the Smiling Samurai app. You can search in, Android or iOS. So all these things which I shared with you, so I practice it every day. So there's a 30-minute slot where you can practice this body work, breath work, mindfulness, and things like that. And if you do for 30 days, what I normally do is we plant a tree. Okay. So whoever complete a 30-day streak, we plant a tree and we send a tree certificate, to their email ID. So this is one app. I mean, there are hundreds of so many apps and things. You can try it out. But the point here is you have to do something with respect to your self-care, right? To manage your emotions. So I know my pace was a little fast because I just want to complete everything in 15 minutes. So thank you so much for your time. So really happy to connect with you and to share all these things. So be in touch. Be more than happy to share, more this kind of wisdom with all of you. Yeah. Thank you so much. Over to the organizers.
Thank you so much, sir. The session was informative and interesting. You have emphasized the need and importance of emotional fitness. Surely we all will focus on our emotional fitness. Thank you, sir. Participants, do you have any questions regarding the sessions? Meenakshi ma'am is still there and sir is present. You can ask the questions to the resource persons. Okay, I think we can proceed. Feedback form will be posted in the chat box. Nearing the end of the session, I introduce Ms. Umashankari. Ma'am is a registered dietitian with 18 years of experience in the field of clinical nutrition. Ma'am did her MSc Food Service Management and Dietetics, PG Diploma in Dietetics from Christian Medical College, Vellore, and got the Best Outgoing Student Award of the Year 2001-2002. She completed ESPEN Triple L Live modules on nutrition in renal diseases, cancer, GI disorder, and critical illness. She started her career as assistant dietitian in Christian Medical College, Vellore, and worked in various multi-specialty hospitals like Narayana Hridayalaya, Bangalore, Global Hospitals and Health City, Chennai, Apollo Reach Hospital, Karur, and Karaikudi. She conducted nutrition awareness program in industries, schools, and colleges, and organized various seminars and national conferences. She is the national executive member of Indian Dietetic Association, Puducherry chapter, and the chapter secretary of Iapen, Puducherry chapter. I welcome you, ma'am, to deliver the gratitude note. Ma'am, are you there, ma'am?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Now it's audible. Ma'am?
everyone. God.
Ma'am, your audio is breaking, ma'am. Your voice is breaking.
Unable to hear.
Uma, ma'am. Kanchana, ma'am,
Ma'am,
is Uma, ma'am there?
Ma'am, we're not able to hear you, ma'am.
Sorry for the technical issues. I request Uma, ma'am, to continue. Sorry for the interruptions. Uma, ma'am, will join us shortly. Please wait.
Hello. Uma, Mrs. Uma Shankari, Kanchana. If ma'am is not able to join,
Yes, ma'am.
can I give the vote of thanks with your permission from that side, Jitma? Or we can make a call. I just called Uma ma'am and informed her to deliver vote of thanks. Will you
Just
please inform her
checking.
one more time? Just check it. Otherwise, I will just deliver the vote of thanks.
Just give me a minute, ma'am. I will speak to ma'am.
Yeah, sure.
Ma'am, Kyle, ma'am.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, Uma,
Yeah, ma'am.
we are happy
Yes.
to hear you from that side. Please continue.
Sorry for the delay, ma'am. There was some
No
network
problem, no
issues.
problem. It's okay.
Okay. Okay. Good evening, everyone. It has been such an honor to be part of this wonderful event. On behalf of the organizing team, Iapen India Puducherry chapter, I would like to first thank Dr. Biju Puducherry for giving us a continuous support and being an inspiration for us for conducting all these events. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed speakers, Dr. Kalpana Bhaskaran, Dr. Antino Cardilla, Dr. Meenakshi Bajaj, Mr. Srijit Krishnan, for their wonderful presentation. All the presentations were wonderful and they were very good. We gained a lot through these presentations. It was very new to us topics were very new to us and we gained a lot of knowledge. Thank you each and every one speaker. A wide round of applause and thanks to all the participants who made the event a memorable one. I would be failing in my duty if I did not thank Dr. Kayalvili Balamurugan for organizing such a wonderful session and connecting us to the such eminent speakers. Thank you, ma'am. I would like to thank Ms. Kanchana, Ms. Yamini, Ms. Ankita for their support and making this event a success. Thank you everyone for this wonderful session. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am, for your gratitude note. Participants are requested to fill the feedback form, which is posted in the chat box, so that you can receive your e-certificates. We would welcome the opportunity to return with another session with an exciting topic in the near future. Thank you all. Have a great weekend.